Welcome back to Cat News. I'm the Truth Cat, and this is my 50,000 subscriber and 1-year episode today. So hide your kids and hide your wife because this is going to be a spicy one. There's been a lot of corruption and hypocrisy happening in the government and the media over the past 2 years, and I think it's time to review it and expose it again. Recently, Trump summed up everything pretty well in a firestorm of tweets. If the FBI or the DOJ was infiltrating a campaign for the benefit of another campaign, that is a really big deal. At what point does this soon-to-be $20 million witch hunt composed of 13 angry and heavily conflicted Democrats and 2 people who have worked for Obama for 8 years stop? They have found no collusion with Russia, no obstruction, but they aren't looking for corruption. In the Hillary Clinton campaign, where she deleted 33,000 emails, and got $145 million while Secretary of State, paid McCabe's wife $700,000, and so much more. Republicans and real Americans should start getting tough on the scam. Don't worry about the Dems' FISA abuse, missing emails, or fraudulent dossier. Whatever happened to the server at the center of so much corruption that the DNC refused to hand over to the hard-charging FBI? They broke into homes and offices early in the morning, but were afraid to take the server? And why hasn't the Podesta brother been charged and arrested like others after being forced to close down his very large and successful firm? Is it because he is a very well-connected Democrat working in the swamp of Washington, D.C.? Well, I think those are some really important questions, and the fact that the president is asking them and not the mainstream media, that's a huge part of the problem. Because the legacy media doesn't write about collusion because they are actively involved in it. It's almost equivalent to pleading the fifth so they don't incriminate themselves. If they were actually following the laws against corruption, a lot of people in the legacy media would be investigated or even going to jail, since they have been publishing leaked documents that are just coming directly from the FBI and the CIA. It was illegal when Christopher Steele did it, and it was illegal when Comey did it. If you remember, Comey wrote his memos on company time. That means that his memos belong to the government. For him to share his memos with people outside of the government, that's illegal. And when you lie about it under oath, that's perjury, which is not only illegal, that's a felony. But who is in jail for all of this corruption? No one has even been charged. Right off the top of my head, I could probably list about 20 people who need to be investigated or put directly into a jail cell, like the entire DNC, Hillary, all of her campaign staff, Obama's entire administration, John McCain, Rosenstein, McCabe, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page. And I mean, this is old at this point, but Strzok and Page were texting about contingency plans and secret society meetings to deal with the Trump problem. And this was just immediately dismissed and swept under the rug by legacy media as a joke between lovers. Oh, okay, I guess the investigation's just over then? No. When something like that is leaked, maybe we should stop for a second and say, wait, back up? What does that mean? Who's involved in this secret society and what were their objectives? Is this just a lunch date between 2 friends with an inside joke? Or is this a satanic cult full of child trafficking pedophiles like the person who emailed Hillary Clinton and told her he was going to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch? Please clarify and be very specific. But these questions are not asked, and if they are, they're ignored or you just get killed for asking them. Speaking of which, I will never stop asking, what happened to Seth Rich? If Mueller wasn't a DNC shill and a deep state crony, that would have been the first thing to investigate. Virtually everyone who isn't brainwashed by CNN knows that Seth Rich was murdered for leaking Hillary's emails. Kim.com has said it, and Julian Assange has heavily alluded to this. There has been tons of bullshit happening that has been covered up for decades. These are not even conspiracy theories anymore, they're like conspiracy facts. And the entire world should be like, wait. Nobody does anything else until some real basic questions are answered. Like who killed Seth Rich and why? What the hell is a pizza map? Why did Hillary Clinton bail out Laura Silsby when she was caught trafficking children in Haiti? Why did this dude email Hillary Clinton about sacrificing a chicken to Moloch? Why are the Bronfman sisters involved in a child sex trafficking cult who are also tied to Libya, the Rothschilds, and the Clintons? How did Barack Obama get away with not only illegally spying on Trump Towers, but all American citizens? Nothing should progress until these questions are answered. These are the big questions the media should be focusing on, but instead they're still pushing the dead-end Russia train, and when that falls apart, they want to talk about how Trump allegedly had consensual sex with a porn star a decade ago when he was a private citizen. I mean, a rich guy having sex with a woman of questionable morals? That plot has been romanticized in Hollywood movies for decades. Pretty Woman, Flashdance, Indecent Proposal, 50 Shades of Grey, Cinderella. Nobody cares about this. This is a distraction. It's not illegal to have sex with a porn star. What is illegal is using federal resources to infiltrate and spy on an American citizen and presidential candidate. If Trump were to pull an Obama and direct the FBI to plant informants and place wiretaps on his 2020 opponent's campaign, with the excuse of protecting them from potential foreign influence, he would be publicly executed, medieval-style drawn and quartered. This whole thing is cartoonish of how corrupt and biased it is. The deep state is trying to do everything they can to get Trump out because he wasn't supposed to win. It wasn't a part of their plan. It was supposed to be Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush, with Hillary Clinton winning so she could sweep away all of the corruption for everyone. That is why she didn't have a concession speech. But the FBI is still so terribly corrupt that there haven't been any consequences for their very illegal actions. If there are no repercussions for these actions, if the legal system means nothing, then it's all a joke. You don't have law and order. You might as well be Venezuela or the Congo or Libya. I mean, at least Libya used to kind of be okay until Hillary Clinton's Secretary of State and her international gang of thugs took the leader of Libya, drug him from his palace, beat and raped him to death with bayonets in the public square before beheading him, and then she laughed about it in an interview.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No, I'm sure it did.
This is the type of person she is. She's an absolute sociopath, and she would do the exact same thing to Trump that happened to Gaddafi if she thought she could get away with it. These are not good people, and it's not a slippery slope at this point. This is just complete ignorance of the law. These people think they are untouchable. But nearly every single person in the government should be investigated and locked up. As for Nancy Pelosi, you don't even need to lock her up. You just need to stop giving her money and she'll just go away. She's not even going senile. She is senile. When you ask her a question now, she just rambles about things that have nothing to do with what was asked.
As I said the other day, and we saw the pie chart. This is about the American people and how policy here affects them. Instead, let's go to the table
to see its failure at this point?
Well, yes, because we're here for the American people, education being essential. Education, by the way, being any money spent on education, the end of the continuing resolution.
She still thinks that Trump is President Bush.
But I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed, understands the priorities of the American people, and they are not what President Bush, A lot of those people voted for what's his name? President Bush tries to charm you. If that doesn't work, he tries to bully you. Clean debt ceiling. I said President Bush, I'm sorry, I meant to say, it's hard for me to say it, you know.
I mean, at least with Hillary Clinton, we can laugh at her because she's like an America's Funniest Home Video compilation. I mean, like, what is this, a bulletproof vest, a colostomy bag, a demon spike poking out? But with Nancy Pelosi, she is literally mentally unfit to be outside of professional care. I'm borderline worried about her, but I'm more so worried about the government that she's somehow still a part of. Like, she's at the top of the Democratic Party, and they are not sending their best. And if the media wasn't complicit in all of these deep state schemes, they would be talking about all of this super crazy illegal shit. It would be on the front page of every newspaper. But no, that's not happening. What is on the front page of every newspaper? When Trump eats 2 scoops of ice cream. Or for another example, Trump made a comment this week about the gang MS-13 calling them animals.
An MS-13 gang member I know about, if they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
And while he was clearly referring to MS-13, the legacy media once again took Trump's words out of context because journalism is being replaced by propaganda for the sole purpose of profit and social engineering. Vox reported, Trump on deported immigrants. They're not people, they're animals. PBS reports, in speech slamming California's immigration policies, Trump calls some unauthorized border crossers animals. Is that the new politically correct term for illegal aliens now? Unauthorized border crossers? What are rapists then? Unauthorized vagina crossers? And murderers, are they unauthorized life takers? Call it what you want, it doesn't make it legal. Nancy Pelosi stated some nonsense as well. Does he not believe in the spark of divinity? The dignity and worth of every person? The far-left Pelosi and the media are far more upset about Trump calling MS-13 poopy heads than they are about MS-13 raping and murdering children. Does that not strike you as a little bit odd? This has nothing to do with institutionalized racism. This has to do with MS-13 beheading people in the streets. We are not talking about an innocent group of marginalized minorities. We are talking about an extremely violent gang of criminals. These are not surgeons and engineers here. These people have killed, tortured, raped, and sacrificed children to their satanic gods. Do you want them roaming the streets in California? Probably not. If I were to show you images of their crimes, my YouTube account would be immediately deleted and I'd probably be on some sort of watch list. Even talking about them like this is dangerous. But that is who the left-wing media is defending, not necessarily because they agree with MS-13, but because they will passionately argue against everything Trump says, even when he's right, which is in this case. If the worst thing that happens to MS-13 is them getting called an innocuous playground name and getting deported, that is a kindness compared to what these monsters deserve. I mean, criminals illegally in a country belonging to a pedophiliac, satanic roaming rape gang need to be deported. If you disagree with that, you also need to be deported. The people and the media defending MS-13 are ironically usually the same people screeching about gun violence. Here's a pro tip. Guns don't kill people, but MS-13 sure does. Trump just tweeted, I hereby demand and will do so officially tomorrow that the Department of Justice look into whether or not the FBI, DOJ infiltrated and surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration. Is it finally here? The day the swamp investigation begins? We can only hope so, and the liberal media is in full-on panic meltdown mode, exclaiming that Trump has interfered with the investigation. But if the Obama administration and the FBI have nothing to hide, then they shouldn't object to an investigation. That's what the liberals have been saying about the special counsel for the last 2 years, and so I'm happy for them to have a taste of their own medicine. I won't get my hopes up yet, but perhaps this could finally be what we've been waiting for. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I have a new t-shirt in my t-shirt store to commemorate my 50,000 subscriber landmark. Thank you all. I wouldn't have any subscribers without you, my subscribers. Have a great night. Meow!